Namaste and welcome to Be Mystic. War is no longer just fought on the battlefield. The recent skirmish between India and Pakistan after the Pahalgam terror attack proved one testifying or terrifying truth. The most lethal weapon wasn't a missile, a drone, or a submarine. It was something far more insidious, something that infiltrated our minds, our news feeds, and even the most trusted media houses. A weapon so powerful it turned facts into fiction, allies into enemies, and chaos into strategy. This is the age of misinformation warfare. The conflict escalated following the brutal Pahalgam terror attack, carried out by militants reportedly backed by Pakistan. In response, India launched targeted strikes using drones and fighter jets, precisely attacking terrorist locations within Pakistani territory and eliminating 9 terrorist bases. While the world focused on the visible devastation, explosions, and airstrikes, another battle raged unseen: the war of the narratives.
भारत की तरफ से सफाई देने के बाद
Every single corner of the
पाकिस्तान की तरफ से भी सफाई देने के बाद
विष्णु चेतना हम सरकारों में मानते हैं.
Genuine and dubious news channels flooded the airwaves with conflicting reports. Some, like The Print, where Shekhar Gupta and his team dug deep into the plausible Pakistani connection, tracing Pahalgam satellite footage sale sold by Maxar Technologies, drawing a narrative to Obaidullah Sayed, who had a history of convictive behavior in the past as well. Others sensationalized secret submarine bases and AI-driven drone swarms. Economists predicted global market crashes, while political analysts forecasted doomsday scenarios. But here's the terrifying question: how much of what we saw was real? In the ever-evolving theater of modern warfare, misinformation proved to be a weapon just as potent as the missiles and the drones. It did not merely distort facts, it manipulated perceptions, deepened hatred, and dangerously pushed two nuclear-armed nations to the brink. The conflict between India and Pakistan was not solely fought on the battlefield, but in the minds of millions. False narratives flooded social media, fabricated footages spread like wildfire, and carefully doctored leaks sowed chaos and distrust. Entire population found themselves trapped in a storm of deception where reality blurred and fear dictated decisions. One of the most insidious tactics was the use of AI-generated battlefield footages. Clips emerged showing Indian troops supposedly surrendering en masse, their weapons discarded, hands raised in show of defeat. Another viral video depicted Pakistani drones effortlessly evading India's S-400 defense system, striking key targets with surgical precision. Neither was real, yet the images were convincing enough to trigger widespread panic and confusion. The lines between truth and fictions had been obliterated. Misinformation seeped into intelligence circles as well. A document supposedly leaked from high-ranking officials claimed that India was actively preparing for a nuclear strike. The revelation sent shockwaves through diplomatic channels, forcing urgent denials from the Indian government. The damage, however, was already done. Tensions skyrocketed, military maneuvers escalated, and trust between two nations eroded at an alarming pace. Social media became an uncontrollable battlefield of its own. Troll farms and automated bot networks amplified extreme rhetoric, ensuring that reasonable voices were drowned out in the cacophony of nationalism and fury. Propaganda spread faster than anyone could contain, inflaming emotions and pushing both sides towards full-scale war. Citizens who had once viewed conflict with skepticism were now consumed with fear and rage, seeing their neighbors not as a fellow humans but as existential threats. In the end, misinformation did not just manipulate narratives, it reshaped reality itself. It justified aggression, fueled distrust, and nearly turned this dispute into an irreversible catastrophe. Truth became the first casualty of war, and in this digital age, its loss still carries consequences far beyond anyone could have ever imagined. The war was no longer fought with missiles and soldiers alone. It had entered a new dimension, one where algorithms dictated reality and artificial intelligence wove narratives more potent than any battlefield maneuvers. Misinformation, once an age old tactique of propaganda, had evolved into something far more sophisticated: algorithmic warfare. Scholars and thinkers had long warned of its dangers. Books like Nexus by Yuval Noah Harari and The Misinformation Age by Cailin O'Connor and James Weatherall pointed out a terrifying truth. AI did not merely spread falsehoods, it personalized them, embedding lies so seemingly with the fabric of everyday discourse that people believed them instinctively. As tensions between India and Pakistan reached critical levels, misinformation became more than just a byproduct of a war. It was a weapon deployed with precision. Deepfake technologies had grown so advanced that realistic videos emerged, seemingly showing world leaders delivering impassioned declaration of wars. The authenticity was so convincing that military analysts scrambled to verify their legitimacy, causing delays in response and widespread panic. AI generated voices played an equally destructive role. In the chaos of conflict, commanders relied heavily on secure communications. But with sophisticated audio deepfakes, orders were replicated unaltered with frightening accuracy and precision. Entire regiments moved based on bases of commands issued by voices that sounded just like their superiors would. But they were nothing more than fabricated distortions. These false directives nearly led to strategic blunder that could have resulted in a catastrophic loss. Journalism, long seen as a pillar of truth, was not immune to this as well. Chatbots masquerading as reporters flooded media platforms with biased, agenda-driven narratives. Fabricated stories, detailed enough to appear legitimate, spread at unprecedented speed, further widening the chasm between truth and fiction. What made the deception so potent was its ability to prey on existing fears and biases, nudging people toward believing the worst without questioning its validity. And the consequences, they extend far beyond the battlefield. Stock markets swayed violently, responding to fake reports to military advancement and economic crisis. The price of oil were almost about to skyrocket over the news of phantom supply cuts, an illusion carefully crafted by digital manipulation. Families grieved over soldiers who were still alive, their despair fueled by altered images of so-called martyrs circulated to inflame emotions and deepen divisions. Even the veteran journalists, armed with years of experience in cutting through propaganda, found themselves ensnared by the web of deceit. The sheer sophistication of modern disinformation bypassed traditional methods of verification, tapping directly into confirmation biases. The tendency to believe what aligns with one's fear and suspicions or desire. As tensions neared a breaking point, the United States stepped in, brokering a fragile truce between India and Pakistan. Diplomatic efforts brought a tenuous peace, yet the misinformation war refused to end. If anything, it intensified. Conspiracy theorists and theories erupted across social media, each one more elaborate than the previous one. Some claim that the entire conflict had been orchestrated by the US to bolster arms sales, citing conveniently timed defense contracts and trade agreements. Others suggested that the Pahalgam attack had been a false flag operation designed to justify escalations. And possibly the most accepted Some even theorized China had been the true target all this while along. Its geopolitical interests subtly maneuvered through the chaos. In this new era, war was no longer limited to airstrikes, troop movements, and territorial disputes. It unfolded in the digital sphere, weaponizing perception itself. Truth had been shattered into fragments, each piece manipulated and reshaped to fit an agenda. And as the dust settled over the battlefield, one thing became painfully clear. Misinformation had changed warfare forever. The missiles may have stopped, but the battle for truth rages on. We are all soldiers now, whether we like it or not. Every time we share unverified news, every time we let anger override fact checking, we become pawns in this invisible war. So, what's the solution? The solution is awareness, skepticism, education, and books like Nexus and the Misinformation Age. They are far more than just reads. They are survival guides in this modern age. Because the next war won't be won with tanks and jets. It will be won or lost in the minds of billions of people. The question is, which side are you on? Subscribe, think, like, and verify. Namaste.